Hey ladies, how's it going? Dan Frampton here, and I just listened to this new Gillian record, Salvation Through Misery. This is their first LP drop since 2018 when they released This Earth-Shaped Tomb. It was during this album cycle that I discovered this band, and I was immediately drawn to their style of grindcore flavored Screamo. They have this Audio Tree live set on YouTube, and the sweat and the passion and the musicianship and the chemistry all come together on this thing that make me wonder why this band isn't a million times bigger. And I think they got onto my radar because Fest, that punk fest that happens down in Florida, have like so many shows, so many bands play them, and they started to generate a little bit of buzz for themselves. So I was hoping their next release was going to catch fire, and this happens to be that release. This was hotly anticipated by me, and I was so stoked to listen to it. Coming in at 12 songs, 24 minutes total, this thing is a breezy, fun thing to listen to. And when I say fun, I don't mean you're going to be bopping your head and having a good old time with it. No, not so much. This thing is cathartic, this thing is emotional, this thing is guttural, this thing will make you feel all sorts of bad emotions, but in a super fun way. I know that sounds pretty enigmatic, so let's dive into it and see how they blended these styles together to create that kind of duality. The first track is called Life is Hell, Hell is Fucked. And right away we're getting so much noise, so much distortion, there's just a wall of compression all around me, and I don't know what's what. I'm so disoriented right off the bat. It's suffocating, and right before I lose my life completely, they move on to the next track, aptly called Drowning in Poison, which is exactly what this feels like. Now we get some hints and dashes of that grindcore that I was talking about. So now we got some grindcore, we got some noise, we got those distorted vocals, which I'll say are a little bit too distorted because this guy has a lot to say, and I think you lose a little bit of it with this much distortion. But you can feel the sweat coming off this track. And if Drowning in Poison didn't take your life, the next track will remind you of the pain of being awake. This kind of noisy, overly compressed stuff is really tricky to mix, because some of it you want to be a wall of sound that you can't discern one thing from the next. But in order to make it like an enjoyable listening experience, well, that's where the art of this comes in. And on this track, it's clear to me that this record is in good hands. About halfway through the track, we get this halftime section, and it's kind of wacky, I'm not gonna lie, and I like it. Borrowed Time comes in as their slowest cut. They're really playing around with the composition of this thing, putting the emo back in Screamo and doing a long instrumental section. I love it. Best track so far. The next song has a way better title than the song itself. Serene Landscapes of a Violent Utopia. I love that title. The song, well, the song's just mid. I mean, it goes a million miles an hour, but I mean, you can't really tell one thing from the next. There's no hook, there's no melody, there's no nothing. This thing is just like walking through a car wash. And I know that kind of fury was the thing that this band was going after, but it's just the least enjoyable cut so far for me. Lake of Misery, Heart of Hatred is next. And I don't love this thing on the record. It's not really great with these other tracks. I'm sure it works well in a live setting to kind of break it up a little bit, but during this track list, I would have completely gotten rid of it. Track number 8 is called Crucified Upside Down. These track titles are amazing. What a creative band. And this is another badass cut, just more Gillian Carter, noisy, grindy violence that I've come to love. And if you like blast beats, well, they're all over this thing. And accompanying those blast beats, we get a nice little guitar solo. And before you know it, we're on to the next track, Abandoned and Lost in Time. Yeah, these song titles, this music really put you in like a post-apocalyptic type mood. It's not hopeful, it's very dim. There's nothing promising about any of these tracks. But there's a beauty, there's an art, there's a poetry and all that I just absolutely adore. The guitar tone is beautiful on this track, and the lullaby outro, while on paper sounds corny, is pulled off immaculately. And then we get some yelpy ass vocals on this next cut, Nothing Ahead of Us. It's a pretty ambitious composition, and none of it comes across like a shitty Jackson Pollock painting where it's just like shitty colors all over the place. It's put together with care and integrity. And then we move on to track number 11 called Living in Isolation. And what's that I hear? Is that harmonica on this noisy grindcore Screamo record? This sounds like the theme song to the apocalypse. You get that harmonica, you get those whistles, you strum that guitar, you turn the volume of the actual world destroying all the way down, you slow-mo the footage, and this is beautiful. This is film. This really got my imagination going. Now I know post-apocalyptic stuff is like creative writing 101, but making you feel that, making you feel the crushing end of the world and putting that into an audio experience is captured in a very intense way on this record that really should be appreciated by more people, I think. And just when I thought I heard the best of the best on this album, I get one more track that happens to be the best track on this project. It's vicious, it's ferocious, and it's the best composition so far. And this track features the most true Screamo section. It takes you back in time to an era where Thursday ruled the airwaves, as if that was ever a thing. Now overall, I gotta say I love the drumming on this thing. It's a great mix of styles, but it's nothing really brand new. It's a solid, aggressive, creative album that really makes you feel feelings, and for all of that I appreciate the hell out of it. It drags a little bit in the middle, and I wish there was a little bit less distortion on the vocals, but it's hard to be really too mad at it when it's over in under 24 minutes. It's focused and sharp, and I gotta say this thing is about 3.5 stars. Okay, that's gonna be about it for now. Like, comment, and subscribe, and until my next upload, watch another upload.